There you go. Oh. Right, believe it or not, we are going to change this 40-foot Arctic container, which is a refrigeration unit, into a spray booth. We have some doors which are going to stiff on the front. We're going to take the front engine off because in this particular unit, an engine does all the, you know, all the cooling of all the stuff that's in the back, the air conditioning side of things. Let me show you that. These are fire engines, by the way. It's what a fire engine looks like before it's all fitted out. Here we go, Thermo King. So we're going to take this whole front off, engine, frame, the works, and we're going to put our door here as well. The SB2DI. So we're going to whip all this off, hopefully, and see where we're going. Right, we are inside the container. Go! So, the reasoning behind this guy sprays lorries all the time. He's got a very big spray booth that he can fit lorries in. But a lot of times, all the different bits from the lorries, the bumpers, the wheel arches, everything, it's difficult to get them all in. And if you just got a load of little bits to spray and lorries to spray, it's very awkward. So all the little bits are going to be coming in here. That's the idea. We're going to have extraction fans and entry fans. This is the rear doors. This is going to be the front doors. And yeah, it should be good. And then we're just drilling straight through the body with some hooks, and he can put some rope across and hang any bits off he wants. And it's looking like it is bolted from the outside. That looks like a big bolt there. Might be able to cut that rather than try and unbolt it, you know. This has to come off because that's in the way of our doors. So we might unbolt this and cut all the bolts off and just let it go, let it fall, or put a forklift behind it anyway. Well, I've just started work and the trailer's mugging me off already. Yo to you too. Cunt. Oh look, Thermomaster was the first people to come up with NFTs. Interesting. Anyway, we have taken that off. Just a few 13mm long bolts. And I was right. That's one down there, but that one is just completely rusted. That one's not even connected. And we've got one here too behind this plate. So I'm gonna have to knock off that plate, and then hopefully we can just cut them off. And then this should come. I don't know if I have to take this down. I'm not sure. I don't think I will have to take that off. Let's set up a forklift on the far side of this now, and just make sure. I saw this. That's a temperature probe there. That looks like. Got some wires this side, which are just cut. Just make sure it's not full of gas. So yeah, we'll set the forklift up. This is why we need to set the forklift up, because there's a huge bloody engine in the way. Bit of a bad design. I've just taken off that plate, and look at all the water that's behind that. Right, just look how bad it is. It's going to be a bit of a bitch to cut as well. You can actually see that bolt kind of bending in the middle with the pressure, but there's a lot of water in there. Oh well, I need to cut it off. Halfway through cutting this one off, I'm just cutting it in diagonals, and then little chunks are falling off, which will be enough to push it through that little hole. The forklift is on the other side. I don't think there's anything else holding it on. I don't know if this is just going to fall back, but if it does, it's just going to hit a forklift prongs underneath. It's not going to go anywhere. Might make a bit of a bang though. We got the 4 bolts off the corners and just realised behind the plates there's one more there. And there's one more up here. There's no way I can get the grinder into the top one. We tried to move it off with the forklift and it was just solid. We realised there was an issue. So I'm going to go outside, try and cut that one off the top. We've come to the top and look what we are dealing with. Yeah. Even this isn't going to be simple to cut with the grinder. Look at all the rust. Just a few slaps with the hammer. I did try and cut that, but look how rusty it was. That was just with a couple of little love taps with the hammer. Look how bad the bolt is. Right, just one more left, and we'll do that from the inside. This is why we're making it. As you can see, all these parts of the lorries are taking up this huge spray booth, and we can't get a lorry in here now, so these can go in the new spray booth we're making, and the lorry can go here. Something's gonna break. It's not budging. Oh, it's moving now. Yeah, the bottom's moving. Well, yank it off then. You should be used to that. What's the worst that can happen? I don't think that rope's going to hold up somehow. It's moving. The bottom's moving, but the top doesn't appear to be. Now on top, what's the worst that can happen? This is not good. I shouldn't really be here. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Put it down! I mean, I'm standing on top of a 40-foot container and he's got a rope down there. What's the worst that could happen? The seal is broke, more or less, all on the top. With a bit of a gap here now. He's now going forward and backwards with the forklift. I can feel the whole thing moving. Not really. It's moving, but it doesn't seem to be doing a lot. It's flexing more than moving. One guy told us 4 bolts. We did the 4 bolts. Another guy says no, there's 6 bolts. We did 6 bolts. There's definitely one this side, and there's mostly one that side. So there's 8 bolts. But I need to take this off. There's 3 little rusty screws holding it on. I could cut it off, but we can do that instead. Oh yeah. Right, here's one. Look at this. This is just completely gone. This is wood. Was wood. So there's one. And there's the other one. So both guys are wrong. There's 8 bolts. Seriously, all of them done. Let's see what happens now. Are you joking? Oh no, oh there we go, there we go. It is going to fall. It's free! There's no way you balance that right, have you? You need to go, no, you need to go out more. It's catching your side, lift it up a bit. Right, go out now. Go out. Right, down a little bit, down a bit. That's it, go out there now. Keep going. Keep going. No, you're sliding. No, stop. Lift it down a bit. It's caught right on that edge. It's caught on your side. Yeah, it's just the box, yeah. No. There you go. Oh. That's one way of doing it.
Cut them pipes?
Yeah, we'll cut them, yeah. Hopefully it will fall off and I'll catch it on camera. This is certainly bodgit and leggit territory. Where are you going with it? So it's a fairly beefy engine. Are you holding that piece of rope? What do you think you're going to do with that?
I'm just stopping myself to run it over and knocking it off.
Ah, I was going to say, you're not going to be able to hold the fucking thing. Are you taking it inside? Yeah, you can't go any lower than that. I've just noticed this has all been cut through. See that? Completely cut through. There's some ducting here which has been cut. So whoever cut that, cut straight through that. I've been busy. I've taken out all the supports that are going to be in my way. Some of them maybe wasn't going to be in my way, but some of them was, so we might as well rip them all out. We've obviously took out that. We took out the ducting. I had to buy this bad boy. Look at this. I had a saw which I might be using, but unfortunately the saw isn't thick enough, and I even went and there was no saw out there, circular saw, battery powered, from DeWalt, from Milwaukee, from all of them, that could cut over 90mm deep. I was told it wasn't available, so I had to get this, which is the new 54 volt DeWalt Flex Volt Sawzall reciprocating saw. It will cut through over 100mm, this 130mm blade that's on that, but you don't get the full 130 because of that. But anyway, it's thick enough. But the issue with that is they tend to wobble, where the circular saw would have been better, but I might have to use a mixture of both, the circular saw first then that, I'm not sure. Anyway, I have laid the frame in place. It is going to go up to the roof. I'm just making sure my measurements is correct. So I marked this first and I've just put the door up to it, and look at that. Look at that mark. Well proud of myself. That mark lines up perfectly with this. So it's a case of cutting all the way down there. There's not going to be a big lip in here actually, which is good. And I'm hoping, I haven't done this side, but I'm hoping, I'll show you when I take this off, that I can follow that door frame down there, or the frame, the inside frame. All I got to do now is mark across the bottom, and then we can take all that out. Look at that. Awesome. Right, I am ready to cut holes. I've got it all marked. The bottom is a bit hard because it's all kinked in and wavy, but anyway, got the frame in here. So I think we're good to go. Now what my plan is I'm going to use this hole saw in, I don't need 4 corners because we're leaving that corner there. So in 3 corners, drill 3 holes. So then means I can get the blade, you know, around the corner without having to do a big, huge, like semicircle, because I want a nice straight line. So that's what I'm going to use for that. I'm using these 54 volt 9 amp hour bashes from DeWalt. They're animals. I use them on my angle grinders all the time. Just they're brilliant. But DeWalt do a 12 amp hour. I'd love to get my hands on them. They even do a 60 volt version now. But I would love to test the old 12 amp hour. But for something like this thing, you do need the 9 amp hour batteries. I've got the 6, the 5 and the 9. And I just use the 9s on everything, especially with something like this. Now I've only just got this, and especially with my angle grinders, I use the 9s all the time. To be fair, with the drill you don't really need the 9, but I've got them, so I might as well use them. So yeah, wish me luck. I know we've left it in. Look at that. Boom! Look at that. Straight through. And now when I come down here with my blade, I can come across there and we'll just cut out that little bit separately. But yeah, the power of this DeWalt drill is fantastic. Boom! Definitely too late to go back. Let's hope we got it right. I'm laughing, but it's not a good laugh. Right, for those who want to know what the front of a refrigerated lorry is made up of, we've got a bit of alley plate there. That's just because of the bottom. Then we've got wood, then this foamy kind of thing. Don't know what that is. That must be some sort of special, you know, to keep the cold in, special installation foamy thing. Anyway, the side is thicker and the doors are even thicker again. But yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the bottom first. And my reasoning is, if I cut the two sides, it's going to be, all the weight's going to be pushing on the bottom, and as I'm coming to cut, it's going to trap the blade of the saw, but it's also potentially can hurt me. So if I cut the bottom first, then all the weight's kind of off it, and then it's just a case of cutting the sides and watching it fall. That's what I'm thinking. I'll show you what the problem is. See that metal blade, or that metal pipe, or the metal plate, sorry. It's not thick by any stretch of imagination. The thing will easily cut through it. But because it's flapping like this, it's just flapping. The blade, it's following the blade, if that makes sense. And it's kind of stopping me, and I think it's damaged the blade. They're only cheap blades. I can only get cheap blades. I couldn't get decent blades. But we have the bottom cut, which is nice. Right, maybe it's not what I thought it was. Now, look at that. That blade is completely damaged. There is something there stopping me, and I don't know what it is. I put a new blade on and it still didn't go through. There's something, I'm not sure. But anyway, we've got that top cut, so this is going to be a good test because we've got a metal frame. You have to go through the metal frame first, or even second, depending which way I cut it, before we go all the way down. It cut through the metal no problem, but then it got blunt and now the blades just snapped. The blades are shit. the saw is good. What I'm going to actually do is I'm going to cut a line in here with the grinder so I can look underneath and see where the middle is, see where the blade is. Now, see that? Now I can look underneath that and I know where the blade is. It'll make my life a lot easier. The problem with a sawzall blade, you know what I might do now? I think I'm going to get my other saw and cut it with my other saw first. Oh, I'm falling over everything. Right, I've got my circular saw. This has got the 6 amp hour battery on, and what I'm hoping is, it's only the little one from DeWalt, it's not the big one, but even the big one, the new 54 volt one with the 190mm blade, just there isn't enough blade sticking out to cut this in one go. So what I'm hoping with this is now, see we've got a little mark here so we can follow it. I'm going to cut basically say halfway through with this and then follow it up with the reciprocating saw. That's the plan, but I don't know if it's going to work. It should do. This is a TCT blade, so this will cut metal, wood, it'll cut everything. Really good blade on these. Same blade I use in my crosscut for my cutting metal and stuff. Cuts everything, this blade. Oh, look at that, perfect. But I need bloody goggles. Need bloody goggles. Look at that. Perfectly on line with the mark, because on the saw there's a little guide where the blade's going to cut, so that's handy. Oh, that's beautiful. That is a beautiful, beautiful line. Oh, the lovers. What I love about them blades, it just cuts through anything. Anything, so that's wood, metal, alley, you name it, it cuts through. Especially if you're cutting up wood and there's a load of nails in it, and obviously a wood blade will just get destroyed. But look, it just cuts through like butter. But look at that line, absolutely perfectly straight. It's just a real shame I can't get a big enough saw. I can get a big enough saw to go through this, but not the side. The side is thicker. That's why we went and got that, because I was hoping to use that like I just did there. But it leaves such a lovely cut. Alright, again, that blade just shows you cutting through steel, fiberglass, wood, aluminium, just everything. Not a problem to it. So I did kind of experiment with the Zorzor at the top, and look what it was doing. You see that? The blade was wandering just as I thought it would, because it's so long. So I brought it down here and I only put it halfway through at an angle, and then when I did that, see it there? Oh, Where are we looking? Here. Where my finger is. Nice and straight. So I'm going to have to do the same. Put that at an angle. Nice and straight. So rather than leaving it straight up like that against it, I'm angling it like that. And it seems to be a lot better. Problem is, I need to be where I can actually see the top of the blade. I can see the blade twisted even now. So annoying. Yes and no. You come inside a second. I cut it with the surface saw inside. You fucking line absolutely perfect. If I put it like this, it's waving everywhere, so I kind of have to put it at an angle to try and stop too much of the blade going through. But it is wandering a little bit. But the inside, if we could just get a blade, you can't. I would make a lovely fucking cut. If you see the cut in here, it's perfect. It's a shame. No, but it's just, you know what I mean, for a nice cut. Yeah. No. Wait, are you going up now, yeah? I'll come with you, give me a minute. Going for food. It's just gone way off. It's what I was afraid of. It's what I was afraid of. You know I'm gonna die. Wow, come on, come on, come on. Yes, I was thinking about cutting holes and drilling a line or marking a line from the other side and cutting it with the saw, but you just don't know if the drill bit's going to wander. It's just, no matter which way I did it, it was a nightmare. You really needed to cut it in one go, solid, but I couldn't. This actually has to go t'other way. Something, they're bloody close. Just that little piece of plastic there. Cut the top off there. And that'll fit. I've still got the rounded edge at the top, so I need to square that off. Little bit of fiberglass there that I need to trim, and that's it, it will fit. I'll do that off camera. Looking good. I have to be careful because it's not in properly, but you can see it's just resting in. It's actually fitting really nicely, which is good. A little bit of trimming, we have to make a metal frame just on this side and the bottom because there's a metal frame there. That's why it's slightly offset, because I wanted to use the metal at the top and the metal down here, rather than cutting both sides and have to make a complete frame. So that's why we offset it slightly to one side so we could do that. Right, okay, there's a little bit of adjustment on here, not on here, but on what we've got to do. And we've got to put a metal frame in across the bottom and the top. But we've got two of these fans made by Sealy. I don't know, customer got everything. That's the part number. He's been using these on his other spray booth and they've worked great for him, so we're going to use them on here. This is the hole I'm going to cut out. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have two of these, one on the, one on the back, one on the front, and we're going to put a large panel filter across the whole from the bottom all the way to the top. And because the fan's at the top, what that's going to do is, as it's sucking the overspray out, it's going to suck the overspray out from the bottom, because this is going to be encased in a box, and then it'll also suck out the overspray from the top. So I've now got to drill a couple of holes with the hole saw, and then get the reciprocating sawzall and try and cut out this circle as best I can. It's not going to look great, but it's going to be all right. Then we'll stick this through, seal it around. We have brackets here to screw it onto there, and it's going to work perfectly, I hope. Right, I've drilled 3 holes just so it's easier for the sawzall. I might put there just so I can basically stop. It's easier for me, sorry. This is what it's made out of at the side. Now there is alley strips and stainless steel strips inside to hang stuff on, but basically you've got some fiberglass wood, and again this same spongy material, and then wood and fiberglass again, and it's slightly thicker than the front, about 3 or 4 mil, maybe 5 mil thicker than the front part, but the back doors are even thicker again. There's obviously a reason why the back doors are really thick. I'm not sure, but you can see just how much thicker it is. You would have thought it should all be the same thickness, because if it, I don't know. There's obviously a reason, but I don't know. mean, from this side it's cutting perfectly. I just don't know what it's like inside if the blade's just... Because this material is so, not thin, but so weak compared to, say, if it was metal, the blade can move around a lot more. Now, if it was this thick of metal, I'd be in trouble, but I'm hoping it's cutting kind of good. I'm looking through the gap here to see where I'm cutting, how I'm doing it. Such an angle. Horrible. I'll show you when I've finished. Just boring watching me cut. Right, I found a way how to do it a little bit easier. When I was trying to cut too much at once, the blade wasn't following the hole. It was like the material that was left was pushing it. So I'm just doing little chunks at a time. So I'll do another 3 or 4 inches, 5 inches, whatever, cut it off. And it seems to be a lot better. Still not great, but by the time we put that in and seal around it, which we're going to do with sealer anyway, the little imperfections that are in it is not going to really matter. A fully charged 9 amp hour battery, 54 volt, essentially did the big door and that. Now bear in mind, I was cutting, I didn't just cut this, I've cut loads of chunks off, like this, loads of them. And look, it does, you can see it's kind of at an angle. That's just the blade, you know, the blade flexes because it's such a big thing.
That's what she said.
So that'll give you a rough idea of how long a 9 amp hour battery lasts. You can see all the little chunks down there, loads of little chunks. Kind of don't like that, that was annoying. So a little bit more to go and we'll see if the fan fits. I don't think it will. A lot more trimming, I think, unfortunately. Right, squint at the camera or at the screen and it kind of looks circle. I haven't tried this yet. Let's see if it fits. Oh no, it doesn't. Oh, it's close. A little bit at the bottom. I think that's just it. A little bit at the bottom. I just need to cut into the metal slightly. I might get a DA sander and just sand around there to make it look, or make it a little bit wider. I think that's what I'll do. Right, what I have noticed is, like I said before, when you've only got a little piece of material, look, it cuts really nice. When you're trying to cut and there's a lot of material above it, it seems to wander everywhere. I mean, look at that. That's really, really nice compared to when I first started. That's just a mess there. But once the big, huge box comes in here and then we seal the outside with sealer, which we was going to do, it's fine. Yes, it looks a little bit rough, and it is, but it's just the blades wandering so much. It's a nightmare. I can't stop it. Them blades are really crap. I don't know if it's just... The blades are crap anyway, but I just don't know if it's because of the crap blades or it's just because they're quite long and it's wandering. I think it's a bit of both. Right, second fit. Oh yes. While we're done with the bottom, hitting what we're hitting. Should be good there. Hitting something just here. The bottom in. Hitting something here and possibly something at the top. But look at that. That gives you an idea what it's going to look like. There'll be a big huge box goes over the top of it with a filter on it. Yeah. Yeah. Right, third time lucky, does it fit? Oh, yes. There we go. Fits in. Look at that. Hole looks perfect now. Third time lucky. Perfect. And I've got brackets that came with it, which I showed you, which we can now screw into there, or even just use some Gaudi bands. I'll see what you want me to use exactly, but yeah, looking good. Now, like everything, I could have just put that in, not showed you the hole, would have looked absolutely perfect. Once I seal the outside of it again, it would have looked absolutely perfect, but this is the real world. You know, this doesn't have to be a perfectly circular hole. It's not for like a house, it's not for a window, it's nothing, you know, there's going to be a big box covering this, and at the end of the day, it's just there to let all the crap out. So having not a perfect hole isn't really the end of the world. But yes, I personally would have preferred it looking a lot nicer, but once everything's on, you'll never see it. But the blade is just moving too much. I just can't. But I've learned a few bits from doing that hole, so the next hole should be slightly better. But at the end of the day, it fits. Right, we are good. We are in. And like I said, big huge box going on there with wood and a filter. We're gonna seal the opposite side of it just to make it look a little bit nicer, because it is a bit rough. You can see the gap, but again, it's not going to affect anything. Celia made one of them new special fans, look, free electricity. You don't need to plug it in, look at that. The next one we are going to put all the way down here, and we are going to be putting it somewhere there. Right, here's what I've learned from the first one. So I've drilled more holes so I don't have to go as far, and then I've got the center one so I can draw as many lines from the center as possible to, you know, to cut chunks off. But what I also realized is, as I was, say, coming down to here and I was stopping to try and start again in the same spot to continue, that's what was messing me up. So now I can go from here to this hole, here to this hole. You know, I'm not traveling far, and I'll cut them all off so there's not as much weight on top pinching it and hopefully moving it. So, you know, these are the things you learn from doing the first one, and obviously I'll do the same on the top. I just haven't got my ladder here yet. So yeah, you live and learn. Right, so like I said, this is what I learned, and it seems to have worked. Now there's still, the blade's still wandering, but nowhere near as bad. But now I can start again from here. I'm not trying to line up with the existing holes. It seems to be, at the minute, seems to be definitely better. Definitely better doing it this way in little sections. Right, 100% this is better. I've also learnt, like if I'm coming up here, what I would do is I'm going to cut here first, so it relieves all the tension that's on it as you're cutting through. And as you can see, this is just a million times better. Yes, where I cut the hole saw, it's a little bit thingy, but I can trim that off nice and smooth. You can see all the cuts I've done so far. It is definitely better. Another issue with this is, because it's, you know, if you're on top of it it's a lot easier, but because it's always above my head, even when I stand on the ladders, the roof's really close, I can't get above it because of the roof, if that makes sense. So that also makes it a little bit more difficult. But again, this doesn't need to be really, really neat, which is a good thing, so I'm not worried about it. Another thing I noticed, which is absolutely brilliant, as you're coming in with your cut, once you can see it like I've done here now, so as I'm coming in like this, I can see, because what's happening is, as I'm cutting the blue line here, I can see the blade lifting up, so I can actually angle the saw and the blade at the right angle before I start cutting in. And sometimes what I'm doing is I'm actually cutting the outside first before I cut the inside, and it's keeping the blade more on track because I can actually see it. So yeah, should have done this first, but hey, didn't know, but I do now. And if someone watches this video and you're doing cutting holes into things, you're going to be able to do it. Right, loads of cuts, loads of hole saws, but that fitted first time. Yes, we got a little bit of a gap here. Yes, it's not great still, but it's a million times better than the one. But like I said, it's not really that important. But fitted first time, so happy days. Okay, let's take this down. Oh. Right, you can see it's all been nice and clean. We've got the cowl on, all painted. The whole thing has been kind of washed, looking a lot better. I'll show you the front now in a second and what we've done on the inside. Just didn't have a chance to film it all, but you'll see what we've done. Right, and there we go, look, we have the door on. So let's go up inside this bad boy and see what we've done. Lockable doors. We have our cage made up. It's all on hinges. We've still got a few more things to do, so we can put our filters in there. We have a suck and a blow fan. It's all been cleaned up. We've still got a lot of work to do, still got lights to put in, but you can kind of see essentially how it's going to look. There's our other fan, or there's a fan hole. Here's our other cage for our other filter, and yeah. Oh look, my biggest fan is here. As you can see, it's looking good. And I don't know if I explained before, the reason why we need another door there is because where this is being reversed in the yard, we're not going to have any room to get to the back to get things in and out. So that's the reason. But as you can see, there's a load of holes in here, so we all have to get all the holes and everything up, get some heaters in here, get some lights in here. But it's coming along. It's a cheap portable spray booth, and it's going to work really well. We've got a little step, not too bad, just a tiny little step, which is handy. And there we go, sorted. Right, if you want an update on this, because I've done a lot more on it than what the video shows, let me know, because I will show you. And then also, when I did the video and I was talking about the batteries, and because I know someone's going to say this, oh, well, there's a 15 ampere battery. I know, I've got one, but when I recorded it, there wasn't such thing as it, because I recorded this a long time ago, just didn't get round to putting it up on YouTube, but it's been on my Patreon for a while. So yeah, if you want an update and a new walk around, because now it's been in use for, I don't know, 2-3 years now, maybe in and around there, let me know and I'll do one. Sorted. Just write it down there, and then I'll do it in a few days, do a little quick video. All right, sorted.